And hello, I'm John Bachman. President Obama is slamming Congress for not yet passing a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security. He warns of dire consequences for employees of the agency.
These are folks who, if they don't have a paycheck, are not going to be able to spend that money in your states. It will have a direct impact on your economy, and it will have a direct impact on America's national security.
So many folks are saying that many of these Department of Homeland Security employees will be deemed essential, so they won't be subject to a partial shutdown of the agency. Funding for DHS is expected to run out at the end of this week. The new Secretary of Defense, Ashton, is in the Mideast today, getting a first-hand look at the U.S.-led effort to defeat ISIS. Carter gathered top military intelligence and diplomatic experts for a rare conference on defeating ISIS today. That was in Kuwait. He says he may consider American ground troops if necessary.
I think we need to be convinced that any use of our forces is necessary, is going to be sufficient, that we've thought through not just the first step, but the second step.
Well, Carter wants the Department of Defense to exhaust every possibility before deploying more ground troops. He also met with some of the men and women who are still stationed overseas in Kuwait. Carter also visited Kandahar military base in Afghanistan yesterday, and now officials there say it may delay its closure to keep an American toehold in that region that's important to terrorists. The U.S. has slowed its withdrawal of troops from that base, and Afghan as a whole, both residents and Afghan security forces say they are happy that the slowdown is happening. This comes as ISIS continues its reign of terror across the Middle East, prompting worries about backsliding in Afghanistan. The Texas Attorney General voids the state's first same-sex marriage license issued last week. That's a decision that Senator Ted Cruz says he supports, but he also blasts the federal court system for practicing what he calls judicial activism.
Texans strongly believe marriage should be the union of one man and one woman. The elected legislature of Texas has the authority to adopt those laws as well. What the judges are doing, what the federal courts are doing, is judicial activism.
Well, we interviewed Senator Cruz over the weekend and discussed a wide range of topics, from the president's pick for the next attorney general to ISIS for the 2016 presidential election. You can find more of that on NewsmaxTV.com and on Newsmax.com very shortly. Also in Texas, more than 2,000 federal inmates will be moved to another prison after a destructive riot. Officials say the prisoners seized control of the Willacy County Correctional Facility on Friday afternoon. They were protesting poor medical services, according to that report. The detainees are mostly illegal immigrants. They destroyed that prison, making it, quote, uninhabitable. And today marks 70 years since one of America's most iconic pictures was taken. You know it well from Iwo Jima. It's also the memorial in Washington, D.C. for U.S. Marines. Another update coming up for you in 30 minutes.